Welcome to Chris's Storytelling Corner. This is Christopher Moldong of Chris's Storytelling Corner. Today I'm going to do a movie review for the Justice League. Next time I'll have a manga review for Skip Beat Volumes 5 and 6 and a movie review for Coco. You can check out my author's website at www.chrismoldong.com. You can buy my first novel, a fantasy adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99. Also, for $2.99, you can buy my short story collection, a collection of 10 short stories in the horror, fantasy, and realistic fiction genres. Check out my Twitter page and author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. I'd also really like to hear from you guys, so leave any comments about this particular podcast. If you have any movie recommendations or any movies you want me to review, please leave that in the comments. Make sure to also subscribe and share this channel as well. So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to give a full recap of the movie, so there will have spoilers. After I give the recap, I'll give my thoughts on the movie, things like the characters, the plot, and whatnot. As far as a letter grade is concerned, early letter grade, I'd probably give this a B. You know. Good, but not. It's not an A, but not great. I'll explain why in the thoughts. So, let's go with the recap of the Justice League. So, thousands of years ago, Steppenwolf and his army of parademons tried to conquer Earth through the combined energies of three mother boxes, but they are stopped by a unified army that include the Olympian gods, Amazons, Atlanteans, humans, and Green Lanterns. So after fighting off Steppenwolf's army, the mother boxes are separated and hidden in locations around the planet. So in the present, the world is in mourning after the death of Superman. This triggers the mother boxes to reactivate and Steppenwolf to return to Earth in an effort to regain favor with his master, Darkseid. Steppenwolf manages to retrieve the mother box from Themyscira, uh, which prompts Queen Hippolyta to warn her daughter Diana Prince of Steppenwolf's return by lighting the invasion fire. So Diana, who's Wonder Woman, joins Bruce Wayne and attempts to unite other metahumans to their cause, with Wayne going after Arthur Curry and Barry Allen, while Diana tries to find Victor Stone. They all fail to fail to persuade Curry and Stone, but they manage to Bruce Wayne manages to recruit Barry Allen onto the team, who is the Flash. Victor Stone later joins the team after his father Silas is kidnapped, along with other Star Lab employees, by Steppenwolf seeking to acquire the mother box from them. Meanwhile, Steppenwolf attacks Atlantis to retrieve the next mother box, and Aquaman goes in and takes action. The team receives intelligence from Commissioner James Gordon, leading them to Steppenwolf's army, who are based in an abandoned facility under Gotham Harbor. They manage to rescue the kidnapped employees, but the facility gets flooded during combat, and it traps the team until Aquaman helps delay the flood so they can escape. Stone, who's Cyborg, retrieves the last mother box, which he had hidden for the group to analyze. And then Cyborg reveals that his father used the mother box to rebuild his own body after an accident almost cost him his life. Bruce Wayne decides to use the mother box to resurrect Superman, not only to help them fight off Steppenwolf's army, but also to restore hope to mankind. However, Diana and Arthur Curry are hesitant about the idea, but Wayne forms a secret contingency plan in case Superman returns as a bad guy. So they get Clark Kent's body. Believe it's Cyborg and Flash, and it's the water is placed in the incubation waters of the Kryptonian ship alongside the mother box. Uh, and it's activated thanks to the Flash and successfully resurrects Superman. However, his memories aren't returned, and he attacks the group after Cyborg launches a projectile at him. Um, so Superman almost kills Batman, but the contingency plan gets into playing, which is Lois Lane. She just comes by and like talks to him pretty much. Superman calms down and leaves with Lois to his family home in Smallville, where he reflects and tries to recover his memories. With the final mother box unguarded, Steppenwolf retrieves it and leaves. So, with no Superman, the of Justice League, the five members of the Justice League, Batman, Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman, travel to a village in Russia where Steppenwolf plans to unite the boxes and reshape the world. They fight their way through parademons to reach Steppenwolf, but they are unable to distract them long enough for Cyborg to separate the boxes. However, Superman arrives and helps Flash evacuate the city, as well as helping Cyborg in separating the mother boxes. And he also fights against Steppenwolf. They then manage to defeat Steppenwolf, who it becomes overcome with fear and is attacked by his own parademons before they all teleport away. In the aftermath of the battle, Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince agreed to rebuild Wayne Manor as a base of operations for the team, with additional space for more potential heroes. Diana Prince steps back into the public spotlight as a hero. Barry Allen acquires a job in Central City's police department, which impresses his father, and Victor Stone continues to explore and enhance his abilities with his father in Star Labs. Arthur Curry returns to Atlantis, and Superman resumes his life as reporter Clark Kent. In the post-credits scene, there's two of them. In the mid-credit scene, you see Superman and the Flash racing each other, but you don't see them actually finishing the race. And in the post-credit scene, you see Lex Luthor has escaped from Arkham Asylum and recruits Slade Wilson to form their own league. So, some overall thoughts on the movie. Just some general thoughts right now. I thought it was a good movie. I think as far as the DC Extended Universe goes, excuse me, Wonder Woman's still the best of the DC Extended movie or Extended Universe movies, which I'm not counting like the Christopher Nolan stuff. It's pretty much starts with what Man of Steel, right? Then you have like Suicide Squad, Dawn of Justice, Wonder Woman, and now now the Justice League. Considering who's in it, you know, you have like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash. Um, you know, it never felt strong enough. They kind of just come together. I mean, there's history with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, so that kind of makes sense. I get why, you know, there is a storyline reason to get the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman on their team, but, like, it, some of the reviews say their coming together comes across a little more forced, whereas like the Avengers coming together is a bit more earned. I kind of agree with that. Um, let's go with some of the characters right now, though. Batman. One thing, I don't. One thing about Batman in this movie is he does use a lot. I mean, like a lot of different. I wouldn't even call them gadgets, just different machinery. I mean, it's this giant. I don't even know what to call it, like insect crab-like thing that comes along. The Batmobile. Um, you know the the jet. He you get to see him fight like by himself, but man, does he have a lot of? He has a lot of vehicles. I'll say this about Ben Affleck's Batman too. I don't know if that suit is interfering with his breathing or something else, but it seems like he's always like out of breath or something like that. Also, like they made his suit particularly like just bulky, and it just like I get that he's like the only like human in the group, while everyone else is like a meta human, but like you know it seems a bit more. The suit honestly comes across a little more cumbersome and just like I said, it's bulky than being practical. I guess it looks cool, but and it does look cool actually, but like it definitely lacks practicality. Um, as far as this character goes, some things seem a bit more forced. Some things are a bit forced. It's kind of like Superman. Even though he's an alien, he's more human than me, And it's just like, I guess Bruce Wayne would say something like that. Um, maybe. It just seems like kind of a forced line. Um, but, like, it's going to be really interesting to see how Batman is going to be moving forward with considering what's happening with Ben Affleck these days. The post credit scene hints more, well, doesn't hint more toward, well, you saw Slade Wilson, and he's going to be like the villain for the next Batman. So, man, he's a master assassin. Um, if you ever watch like Teen Titans, for example, would see Slade there as well. Um, but it's going to be really interesting to see how Batman is going to be moving forward. Wonder Woman played a really big role. Apparently, Batman wanted to make her the de facto leader of the group. Um, outside of Superman, she's pretty much the next strongest and seems to be one of the more, I guess, noble characters outside of Superman. She wants to help humanity. She's iffy about bringing Superman back to life and whatnot. Gal Gadot plays, or Gadot, is it Gadot or I think it's Gadot. Um, or she plays Wonder Woman very well. I think she kind of looks like her. Um, she can do the action scenes and whatnot. Um, you got to know Wonder Woman's backstory, so a lot of the actions that she did in this movie kind of made sense. Some of the stuff she would tell Cyborg, for example, okay, hey, I was gone for all this time. Don't do what I did. Um, it made sense because you had the backstory um, to begin with. So her actions in this movie just kind of fall in line from what we know about the character, which is good. You know, um, I think she's one of the more, as far as character development goes, I think she's one of the stronger, a little more strongly developed. Of course, she had her own movie, so you kind of know where she's coming from, her motivations, and whatnot. Um, there's gonna have a Wonder Woman 2, so can look forward to that. If it's anything like the first one, it's really strong. The Flash, Barry Allen, comic relief. I thought Miller played this very well. He's Quicksilver from like X-Men. He had that type of comedy, and they kind of had those type of scenes too, where it's like he's moving so fast that everything's moving so slow type of thing. Um, and he just had that. He was like the comic relief. He was really immature, super enthusiastic, didn't have the strongest fighting ability, but kind of grew into being kind of like the hero, um, and helping out. So, and I thought he was one of the bright spots of the movie. Actually, um, they needed someone like that to just be the comic relief. Um, I'm a bit curious to see it. I think he's getting his own movie. I don't know who he fights though. Is he fight like Captain Boomerang or like um, is it Reverse Flash, right? Or gosh, the other Flash. Um, are they gonna go with like Flashpoint Paradox uh, in the future or in yeah in the DCEU? Very curious to see where that goes. Cyborg. Cyborg, I remember watching the Justice League. I think is the Flashpoint Paradox, and the animated universe, and you got to see the tension and just the bitterness that Cyborg has for his father, Silas, in the animated version. But in here, there's really no such thing. I mean, in the cartoon, Victor Stone was, this football player, really good and whatnot, and his father never saw any of his games, and he's just like, what does it matter if you can throw a football, so many yards when guys like Superman can throw a football across the world, like I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not. That wasn't verbatim, but you get the idea. Like his dad didn't really care about his son. In this one, there was no such tension at all. It was the story of Cyborg was a little bit of not being human, but even that's not. That's only kind of shown here in the beginning, but once he joins the Justice League, it's just kind of like he's just kind of like the serious, kind of no nonsense guy on the team. But like you don't get much backstory out of that. I'm also very curious to see if he gets his own solo movie, who the villain will be, and if they'll go a little more into the cyborg character, into the more like human, being more cyborg, maybe having some tension with his father. I'm a bit curious to see where they go there. With Aquaman, um, I I'll give them credit for not making him a boring character, because I'm personally not a fan. I was never really a fan of Aquaman. I don't think he has too many fans, to be honest with you. But they make fun of the whole idea of like, oh, you talk to fish, But he actually has like super strength. His trident can actually pierce Superman because it has magical abilities, and um, it would actually hurt. His trident would actually hurt Superman quite a lot. Um, in this version, they kind of made him, have a little more machismo, obviously, kind of like a cooler Aquaman, and not just the guy that talks to fish. um, who honestly, like, I think in the comics, I never read Aquaman comics. From what I've read, like they tried to change his personality here and there, um, within the comics, throughout like different stages of the comics development and whatnot. But like I said, I'm glad they gave him personality. He was kind of a more fun character. There was a really good scene with him with when he's kind of like telling the truth to the rest of the Justice League, and it turns out that like Wonder Woman, you know, tied the lasso of truth around his arm. And that's why he's telling the truth. I thought that was a really good scene. Um, he gets his own solo movie as well. Um, Jeez, he get. There's one guy. I think one of his father's men turns on the king or something like that. I kind of wonder if they're gonna go with that storyline. If they go with Aquaman, but like I said, I applaud them for making him more interesting, just a cooler, um, kind of funny. He's pretty much like the jock with a heart of gold, and well, somewhat of a heart of gold. Superman, when he came around, it's Superman. I think one of the biggest problems with this movie, if there was one thing I'm not big on with this movie, it's the fact that like once Superman came around, it's over. Like it was over for Steppenwolf, and Superman really is just way too powerful, you know. And when you had like Superman by himself could defeat Steppenwolf, which I'm just there's not much more to say about Superman, and talking about Steppenwolf now, it's like why did they choose Steppenwolf as the villain, and why like why not just go with Darkseid? That's kind of the head scratcher here to me, because I guess if you want to slowly build up to Darkseid, but like you kind of built up to Darkseid with Dawn of Justice already, right? With the whole painting and Lex Luthor going crazy about someone coming. I mean, it was Darkseid, right? Like, I just don't know why you don't have Darkseid do what Steppenwolf did, but Darkseid's just much more powerful and much more of a threat than Steppenwolf, who is just some tall, medieval looking gladiator. I guess is like my best description of the guy. You know, um, he wasn't a particularly compelling villain though. He was strong, but that was about it. But he wasn't as strong as Superman. Um, if anything, I think if Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman would go up against Steppenwolf one on one a lot, and Steppenwolf gets the better of her. But if you got like the Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman versus Steppenwolf, I think those four alone could probably beat him. Once you had Superman, I mean, it was over. I mean, it was like, okay, we're done. He's our uh, Deus Ex Machina. I mean, really. I mean, he kind of is. Even in like I remember in the cartoon movie, he kind of is just the Deus Ex Machina. It's just like, oh, let's get Superman and he'll finish the job. But like against Steppenwolf, it just that much more clear, how much like Superman is the great equalizer here. Um, there's some minor characters here. Alfred, I thought he's really cool. He's still like the butler, but he's also like the, the guy behind the computer that's always helping out Batman. I thought that was pretty cool. Lois Lane was just kind of Lois Lane. They kind of went with this story where she's kind of losing her thing with being a reporter, but like she kind of just got it back right away. Um, Lex Luthor was there briefly. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how he works into everything. Because Slade's the villain for Batman, but Lex Luthor wants to assemble it seems like the Injustice League. Um, so that's going to be interesting. I kind of wonder if he's going to get Joker and Harley Quinn in there. I think Penguin was an early member of the Injustice League as well, along along with oh man, I was just reading up on it too. Other members of the Injustice League, and I absolutely forgot who else what was in it. I'm sorry to say. Um, so if there's an Injustice League though, are they the villains for the next Justice League? Where does that leave Darkseid? Like, I'd like to actually just see Darkseid be the villain because he's more of an intimidating and a more powerful presence than most others, most others in heck in the whole DC universe. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. As far as this movie itself goes, I like that they added some humor in there. It felt closer to Marvel than the darker DC like thing that they're going with. Um, it's kind of like they can make fun of themselves, and that's kind of nice. The Flash, being this kid that's in awe. Aquaman and how he talks to fish. You know, Batman having no superpowers except being rich. And he dresses up in a bat costume. They can kind of make fun of that, and that's, I'm glad they can because, it is like, this isn't normal to see the dude that speaks to fish or the Amazon warrior with God that can block bullets with her gauntlets. Superman, a god among men, the Flash. Human lightning in a sense. Like kind of just it's otherworldly. It's not in the realm of reality. They can kind of make fun of that. That's what Marvel tends to do. I see DC's kind of going in that direction, um, instead of just being kind of dark. So I like that. As far as like the bigger DC universe goes, like I said, it opened up. Obviously, they opened up getting the Injustice League in there, but also opened up Darkseid because Steppenwolf just teleported away back to Chaos. Man, I am forgetting names. I am sorry. I forgot what planet Darkseid's from. Chaos. Yikes. But anyways, um, they opened up the possibility of Darkseid coming down to Earth because Steppenwolf made mention of him, and he was pretty much strongly implied as the person Lex Luthor was talking about in Dawn of Justice. So you open that up. Everyone can have their own individual movies. I hear that this movie didn't make that much. So I'm kind of wondering how Warner Brothers and DC are gonna go about their movies moving forward. Obviously, they're gonna make another Wonder Woman, which was really successful. You know, the first one was really successful. Batman's still up in the air, and I don't know if Cyborg would get his own movie. He's supposed to. Aquaman, I can see getting in his own movie. New Superman, yeah, I can see that. I think Flash was strong enough to also have his own movie. So, we'll see how that goes as well. As far as overall critics say, I mean, they say that the action sequences and performances, particularly by like uh, Gadot and Miller, were really good. The plot's kind of thin, you know. The villain's kind of weak. That's a really big one for me. They overuse CGI a lot. Um, the tone of the film kind of went both ways. Some people like it, some people don't. They, some people like that it's lighter than previous DC Extended Universe stuff. Um, Others find it a bit inconsistent, that it's like serious, lighthearted. They didn't really find that mix very well. Um, so I'll say this with DC so far too. One thing that they're really not good with are the villains, because they usually get some sort of just nondescript, super powered, like otherworldly being or something like that, but there's no backstory. Like, Enchantress from the Suicide Squad, and then she had like the other guy too, the devil guy. But they're just nondescript super being, in Suicide Squad. Dawn of Justice, you had Doomsday, sure, but he was just like this grotesque hell beast, Um, I mean, Wonder Woman, you had Hades, and it was cool that it was, that one guy the whole time. Um, Name forgotten. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting names at this point in time. But when she actually fought Hades, he turned out to be otherworldly, superpowered being. It was just kind of like, there isn't much depth with a lot of the villains, and I think that's where Marvel's kind of strong at. They're a lot better in a lot of cases, not all the cases, but in a lot of cases of having stronger villains, having more fleshed out villains as well. Whereas so far, DC villains have just been kind of, you know, I'm super strong, and that's kind of all I got. Um, Otherwise, like I said, yeah, I give it a B. Considering though who you have, I mean, such iconic characters: Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. I mean, with that, you kind of want a little more. And this is the first installment of the Justice League. It's it could be a bit more grand. Um, Superman, like I said, Superman coming in and just kind of cleaning house didn't really add to like the climax. It's just like, oh, here's Superman. It's all over. For example. But like I said, I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was great. So that's all for today. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel. Thank you for listening to this movie review. Next time I will have a manga review for Skip Beat Volumes 5 and 6 and a movie review for Coco. Thank you, and until next time.